Greetings, Bassketeers. Josh Fossgreen here. Today we're going to learn how to play Stone Cold Bush by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, whose t-shirt I am sporting. I put out a cover of this last week if you want to watch that. If not, you're allowed to still watch this video too. You will need the free PDF download to follow along today. You can click on this thingy-majig and that'll take you to my website where you can download the PDF for free, or you can just view it in your browser if you want. And that has sheet music and tablature for this tune full on, and right-hand fingerings for the slap stuff, which is helpful too. So basically, I'm just going to play through all the sections for you at a reduced tempo so you can hear what they sound like isolated and at a slower pace than the tune, because it's a little hard to pick out all those 16th notes to the untrained ear at song tempo. So we're just going to go through this at 90 BPM, for most of it at least. Suffice it to say that having some ability to deal with syncopated 16th notes is a prerequisite for playing a song like this, because there's a lot of syncopations happening. So you need to be able to count 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and hit notes on the E's and the U's, which we covered in Rhythm Basics 4. So you can check that out if you need a refresher on 16th note syncopations before you try to dig into this, because otherwise there's a lot of guesswork involved with the rhythm, which is not preferred. So I'll just take it from the intro actually. Here we go with the click. I'll just play it for you slow. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's the intro, pretty self-explanatory. So as you can see, we're already dealing with 16th note syncopations, 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. And then we've got a lick that repeats a lot of times through this tune, which is just a little G minor pentatonic thing. You can play this without doing that big shift I'm doing. I'm playing that first phrase up on the A and D strings. You could play it on the D and G strings. It's just G, C, G, C, B flat. I like to play it on A and D just with the particulars of my bass. The tone's a little better on the thicker strings in this case, according to my ear. So you can play that in a couple different places. And then the second half of the phrase, you play down at the bottom. And you'll notice there's a slight variation between those two halves of the phrase. There's one note difference really. You go back to the root there and here. You go to the third as the third note of the phrase changes. All right, here's the pre-verse with the click. 3, 4. So nothing too tricky there, just some octaves on a G with some chromaticisms in there. 1 E and a 2, 3 E and a 4. And then same syncopation as we saw in the intro, and then finishing off with that same little lick. So then moving on to the actual verse part, here we go. 2, 3, 4. So here we're still on that G chord. We're just starting on a G and then doing a chromatic walk up back to the G, then syncopating it the 4th time. Then that minor pentatonic lick. So the trick here is just start at a slow tempo like the way I'm playing it in this video, and then work it up to song tempo, because actually doing the it's not super fast in terms of your right hand, but to play it accurately at that speed is a little tricky, especially if you're trying to get your Flea tone by digging into the strings as hard as you possibly can, which is what I was doing in that cover video. That playing that hard tends to mess with your timing a little bit, which you can actually catch a couple little flubs in there in that cover video, because normally when I play, I try to keep my right hand pretty relaxed. But to get that really aggressive, nasty rock tone, if you're playing Chili Peppers or Iron Maiden or whatever, those guys really dig in with their right hand. So I was trying to emulate that. So that makes it even harder with these quick 16th notes to play them precisely. So just start slow and pick it up from there. All right, let me play the chorus for you guys with the click. 3, 4. Musically, this part's pretty simple. We get to whip out our thumb finally. Just 8th notes on the C. This is good thumb practice just to be able to hit 8th notes consistently at a variety of tempos, by the way. So then down to B flat A. Then we're just hitting root, 3rd up an octave, which you call a 10th, root, 10th octave. So fingering wise, I'm doing a bar with my first finger, you notice, going from that G to that B flat. I'm using this part of my finger for the G, this part of my finger for the B flat. That way I don't have to move my hand. I do that a lot. So the first finger takes care of those 2 notes, and then you just stick your pinky in there for that octave on the G. And then same thing to pop that F. You can see my first finger is grabbing that G and the F. Without moving, I'm just changing where I'm pressing on the finger. So you kind of get more fingers for your buck with the number of fingers you have or something. And then again, just grabbing the G with the pinky. And you know, the right hand technique is pretty simple here. It's just thumps and pops. There's no double thumbs or double pops or anything fancy. It's really just thumbs, hammers, and pops throughout this whole thing. And if you're not comfortable with that basic technique, I do have videos I made a while back on basic thumb mechanics and stuff, so you can go back and watch that. Moving right along, the intro repeats. Verse 2 and chorus 2 are the same as the first ones, and then we get to the bass solo. 2, 3, 4. We'll do that one more time. In my opinion and experience, the best way to learn a really dense part like this, especially with a lot of slapped 16th notes, is to take it note by note. Don't try to get the whole thing in one day if this is a challenge for you. Just start with the first note. Ta-da! You got it, a G on the A string. So you can play the first note, so that's great. So now try the first 2 notes or the first 3 notes. So that's just the first 3 notes, thumb, thumb, pop. You loop that with a click if you want to. Then try adding another note or 2. And of course you do this all slower. I'm just going a little faster for demonstration purposes. Then maybe add. And then try just looping the first bar. If I could play the first bar by itself. And then, you know, build from there. So that, what I just illustrated is something that could take multiple days or weeks. You know, work up just 2 beats of it for a few days, then add on another beat, then add another beat. And eventually, I mean, this bass solo is only, 4 bars long. So it won't take that long at that pace. But you allow yourself to digest the coordination required in smaller chunks so that you don't think, how am I going to get through all these 16th notes? So little trill there. You don't have much time for the trill at full tempo, but just do what you can. So the only thing I'll mention in there, it's all, again, it's basic thumb, hammer, pop stuff. There's nothing really fancy with the technique, except there's a little left hand slap in there, which is like a hammer-on, except it's percussive. Let's see if we can find that. is right before that little hammer on into a B. In the second bar, you do left hand slap, thump, pop, hammer. So the left hand slap takes a little work. I should probably do a video on it sometime. But the idea is to just kind of smack the strings with a few fingers. Try not to actually get, a hammer on out of it. You just kind of want to get a generic percussive sound, just like if you were doing like a muted slap. Like if you did something like that, that would be muted thumb and a left hand slap. So there is one of those in that solo. But we won't get too much into that, just wanted to explain what that symbol meant. Okay, so then coming out of the bass solo, we get into that guitar solo section. So let's see what that sounds like a little bit slowed down. 3, 4. Again, simple line, but it sounds really cool. You're just smacking a G, then down to an E leading into the F. So we're just kind of going back and forth from G to F, basically, with some extra notes in there. F, G, F, G, F. And it's also the same pattern on each chord. G, thump, thump, pop, thumb. And then on the F chord, thump, thump, pop, thumb. Just instead of an octave on the F, we're going up a fourth to that B flat, which is the minor third of the G chord. So even though it's sort of an F chord, we're sort of still in the G tonality. It's not a really strong chord change. And then just a chromatic walk down from B flat to the G. Sounds real good. And that repeats a bunch of times, and then that's pretty much the tune. So take your time, work through these rhythms, make sure you're playing them accurately with a click. Review my 16th note lessons or my slap fundamentals lessons if you feel like that would help you play this well, because I don't want you to go out charging in the world trying to play like Flea if you haven't worked on your fundamentals long enough, because despite his rocking appearance, he's actually a very educated musician, and he put the practice time in, and so should you. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed this lesson. I'll be back at you soon with some more Chili Peppers, just for fun. It's a fun band. Let's learn the songs. If you'd like to support me in continuing to make these videos, I would really appreciate it if you would check out my Patreon page, where you can make a small per video contribution and get cool rewards for doing that. Or you can make donations through my website also if you just want to do a one-time PayPal thing. And I would like to tell you guys that I'm working on a new book. It's not out yet, but when it is out, you will be able to purchase it and enjoy it. It will teach you where all your notes are on the neck and how to play scales and arpeggios from beginning level to an intermediate advanced sort of level. It'll kind of get you to the level where you can look at the Beastly Scales and Arpeggios book that I put out a while back. So I'm looking forward to putting out a beginner book, because I know a lot of the people who watch these videos are beginners, and it would be great if I had something for you. So keep your eyes out for that. Last thing, if you're interested in some one-on-one help with your bass playing, I am available for private lessons, either over Skype or in person if you're in Northern California. And so if you're interested in that, you can check out my website for the deets. And thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you soon.